Critics have lined up in force to slam the pointless war in Afghanistan as US, UK and NATO allies prepare to pull out troops and hand the country to the Taliban after a 20-year conflict which cost $825 billion and the lives of 3,500 soldiers.
The conflict has seen tens of thousands of deaths in all, with remarkably few of the aims set out in the beginning actually achieved. As NATO leaders meet for talks this week, with a possible withdrawal on the cards following President Trump's pledge to have all U.S. troops out by May, those across the globe who have opposed the war have once again made their views known. American author and combat vet Daniel L. Davis wrote, "The United States has been fighting a pointless, unnecessary war in Afghanistan for nearly 2 decades." Laila Harré, leader of New Zealand's Internet Party, tweeted that it was 20 years since the alliance stood against this predictably destructive deployment. 20 years wasted on war. Meanwhile, a survey in 2019 found 58% of veterans and 59% of the public felt the conflict was not worth fighting.
Afghanistan's government is held together by a fragile power-sharing deal. It is one of the least democratic and most violent places on earth, and half of its territory is either in Taliban hands or being contested by the Islamists. While Joe Biden may yet reverse Trump's promise, if he pushes ahead then it is unlikely that NATO forces will stay much longer. Their withdrawal would bring an end to one of the longest conflicts of modern times.
But it will also be the beginning of the end of democracy in the country, the long-running campaign's main objective as the Taliban reclaim total control. So, after 2 decades of war, was it all worth it? Mail Online examines
the human cost.
The U.S. invaded Afghanistan in October 2001 on a counter-terrorism mission seeking to capture or kill the al-Qaeda leaders who orchestrated the 9/11 terror attack, and to displace the Taliban government which sheltered the group.
NATO was not far behind, arriving in the country 2 months later with a mission to secure Kabul province so the new government could be established there.
But the objectives quickly changed. A new goal to rebuild Afghanistan as a stable and democratic country within the Middle East emerged, and the war dragged on. Military operations expanded to fit. In 2003, NATO's mission extended across the entire country and troops became more involved in day-to-day fighting alongside regular U.S. forces.
At its height, in 2011, the NATO force numbered roughly 130,000 men drawn from 50 countries, before declining rapidly from 2013 as U.S. forces pulled back.
In 2014, primary responsibility for security was handed over to the Afghan government, and today, there are around 10,000 troops from 36 countries stationed there in support and training roles. Over that time, some 3,500 coalition troops have died fighting. The vast majority, around 2,400, were American.
The UK lost some 450 soldiers, the second highest total, who were largely killed in Helmand and Kandahar provinces when they took over combat operations from the Americans.
On the Afghan side, it is thought that more than 110,000 have been killed, including at least 31,000 civilians who were largely hit by airstrikes.
At least 30,000 coalition troops have also been wounded in the fighting, the vast majority American, while tens of thousands of Afghans have also been wounded.